We have arrived at the end of the year 5770, and with it comes to an end a rather strange and unprecedented year. If there were anything about it that was good, perhaps it was some of the lessons that we learned. One of the things that we learned is that we don't know everything. There's so much we don't know. We discovered that Donald Rumsfeld, the former defense secretary, knew what he was talking about when he said, there are known knowns, there are things we know that we know, there are known unknowns. That is to say, there are things that we know we don't know, but there are also unknown unknowns. There are things we don't know we don't know. This year, we discovered there's so much we don't know. Where did this coronavirus come from? And how did it affect the entire world? And perhaps even more challenging for many of us, when is it going away? When will we go back to normal? The Torah portion that we read as we conclude a year right before Rosh Hashanah every year has an answer where we are told, Hanistoros Lashem Elokeinu V'aniglos lanu ulevanenu ad olam lasos es kol divrei haTorah hazos. The hidden things are for God, but the revealed things are for us and our children forever, to carry out all the words of the Torah. There are things in life that only God knows. The Forward newspaper magazine, which I really like, is running a series now of 18 great Jewish thinkers answering 18 questions about God. Does God punish? Is he involved in the world? I could have answered all 18 questions with the same answer. I don't know. I don't know exactly how God operates. That's just what the Torah is telling us. And yet, some people seem to have an inside track and understand everything about him. There are so many religious thinkers who have explained why it's God who brought the coronavirus on us. Rick Wiles, an evangelical minister, regular visitor to the White House, warned his people, stay out of those synagogues. There's a plague in them. God is dealing with false religions. God is dealing with people who oppose his son, Jesus Christ. It's our fault. And even amongst our own rabbis, they say God is punishing us. For what? Well, one rabbi said, because we publicly desecrate the Shabbos. Another rabbi blamed it on our going to expensive hotels for Pesach. And then there's the homosexuals. For some rabbis, everything is God's punishment for homosexuals, only matched by all the sins that women do. There are rabbis, a very prominent rabbi in Israel, several prominent rabbis, who said that the reason why God brought the coronavirus is because women gossip, or they don't dress appropriately, or because their shaitels are too attractive. That's a reason for millions of people to get the coronavirus. Don't these rabbis remember what God told Job? Job and his friends try to figure out the ways of God, and God set them in the 36th chapter, which for me is the most profound verses in all of biblical literature. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Or what were its footings set? Or who laid its cornerstone while the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy? Who shut up the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment and wrapped its thick darkness? Who is there? Not you. Me, God. And only I know. You know who understood this? The greatest biblical commentator, Rashi. Rashi, who explains all of the Torah to us, maybe 100 times in his commentary, says, I don't know. He didn't have to say that. He could have just told us what he does know. But he was smart enough to know what he doesn't know and didn't see it as a sign of weakness to say, I don't know. You know who was the luckiest person on earth? Mrs. Rashi. How fortunate it is to live with people who are prepared to say, I don't know. Nobody likes a know-it-all. Only God knows it all. What we know for sure is it's been a very difficult year. And what we know for sure is that we're praying for a coming year in which we accept that which we don't know and we act upon that which we know. In the words of our prayers, Tichla Shana Kiloseha, Techel Shana Birkaseha. May the old year with all of its unknowns and its curses come to an end. And may this new year with all its blessings be upon us. Shana Tova, may it be a good year. You know, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur don't just happen out of thin air. We prepare for them. Beginning a month before, when we usher in the month of Elul, we start sounding the shofar, we start reciting the special psalm, and Sfardim begins reciting Slichot. We Ashkenazim begin the Slichot on the Saturday evening before Rosh Hashanah, which is tomorrow evening at 10:30, and you can tune in, zoom in, or show up and participate in a beautiful Slichus service. Slichus is translated as the penitential prayers, but the word Slichus comes from the word Slicha, which means forgiveness. The first step towards a new year is asking people's forgiveness for any hurt or harm you may have caused them. It's not easy to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. But it's good to say it. You know why? Because the person you ask forgiveness from will feel better. And so will you. You take that weight off of your shoulders. So make sure, recite the Slichas prayers, but equally important, or perhaps more important, is ask forgiveness with a full heart. We are told that in the same way we forgive, God forgives. Shana Tova Umetuka.